start with the Dallas Cowboys and their potential bounce back season from 2024. So when we look at the Dallas Cowboys, guys, let's just be honest. Let's call a spade a spade. Let's basically call the kettle black or whatever. Insert analogy right there. The Dallas Cowboys sucked in 2024. From injuries to overpaying their players to confrontations with the head coach, everything was just shitty in 2024. Now, because of the shitty 2024 and because of the shitty signings and because of the shitty overpaying, they have very little cap space to bring in some big name players. Granted, they usually don't bring in big name players or make some big offseason moves, but let's just be honest. They needed to do that. Dak Prescott did rework his deal. CeeDee Lamb did rework his deal to clear up some crap. And what they do, they sign Turpin to a 3-year, $27-some-odd million deal. But guys, the question is, what do the Dallas Cowboys need to do to rebound in 2025? How can the Dallas Cowboys get back on top of the NFC East in 2025? So when we look at their offseason, it's been a head scratcher, right? Selectively aggressive, all in, Turpin, right? But the parting of the ways of Mike McCarthy away from the Dallas Cowboys was good for both parties, right? Mike McCarthy was starting to get walked all over by Jerry Jones and the players, and every time he would try to discipline those players, i.e. Micah Parsons, Jerry Jones was like, "Oh, no, Mike, let me handle this." It was a bad look for Mike McCarthy at the end. It's also better for the Dallas Cowboys to move away from Mike McCarthy because Mike McCarthy was just what's the word I'm looking for? He was a Mike Tomlin-esque type of coach, right? Great regular season, but when it got to the postseason, let me dribble down my leg a little bit, right? Yes, he does have a Super Bowl ring with Aaron Rodgers, but he could have had a hell of a lot more if he just had a little bit more ball sack in him. Let's just be honest. But Brian Schottenheimer does step in as head coach. Brian Schottenheimer was the offensive coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks in 2018 when the Seahawks were the best offense in the league that particular season. Russell Wilson threw for over 4,000 yards. Chris Carson, my dog, ran for 1,230 yards, and they were just clicking on all cylinders. But he was later fired by the Seattle Seahawks back in 2021 when they ultimately lost to the Rams in the wild card game due to physiological differences, a.k.a. Brian Schottenheimer liked to pass the ball on first down, and Pete Carroll liked to run the ball on first down. That's basically what it come down to. He was then hired as a consultant he was hired as a defensive coordinator for I lost my mind here. He was hired as a Jaguars passing game coordinator before joining the Cowboys in 2022 as a consultant to Dan Quinn on the defensive side of the ball. In 2023, he was promoted to the offensive coordinator when Kellen Moore left for LA. So when we look at the Dallas Cowboys, guys, last season, they had the 17th ranked offense last season. Not good, but not bad either. They were 11th in passing, however, but 27th in rushing. They added Miles Sanders this offseason. Help with that 27th ranked passing game. Now, they did attempt to fix the rushing attack with the addition of Miles Sanders and Williams from the Denver Broncos, but let's just be honest, those are no game-changing potential, right? And now, per PFF, the offensive line of the Dallas Cowboys did finish in the top 10. So obviously the offensive line wasn't the issue, right? Not so fast. The eye test tells you that the Dallas Cowboys offensive line was bad last season. From injuries, from allowing 156 pressures and 30 sacks just last season. It was a long season if you were a Dallas Cowboys quarterback. And now with Tyron Smith just retiring, it's going to be a long, long ways. So what did the Dallas Cowboys need to do in 2025 to rebound? First thing they need to do is they need to draft offensive line. They need to draft offensive line. They need to build that offensive line depth back up, and they need to be the great offensive line that they have been for the last, 10, 12, 13 years. They've had a dominant offensive line. Second thing they need to do is shut Micah Parsons up. Micah Parsons is quickly becoming a cancer. Micah Parsons is becoming an issue. between his podcast, between guessing on other podcasts, between speaking his mind on Twitter. Like, Micah Parsons needs to either find a woman, find a man, but either way, they need to shut his ass up. He is talking out both sides of his mouth right now, and he is starting to write a check that his body and his team will not be able to cash. The third thing they need to do this offseason is they need to hire a general manager. Jerry Jones, great owner, great promoter, great everything of putting the eyes on the Dallas Cowboys, but truth be told, he is a terrible general manager. He's a terrible general manager, and he needs to be fired from general manager duties ASAP. Fire that man from general manager, and a lot of things will be a hell of a lot better. So, guys, in the comments below, let me know, how do you think the Dallas Cowboys, or what do they need to do to rebound in 2025? Let's go sports. My man, the myth, the legend right there. He says, as a Steelers fan, I am a Cowboys hater. Like, pretty much any fan base but the Dallas Cowboys. But trust me, they have a long, long way to go. They are not back. And let's go sports, you are correct. I've said this countless times this offseason. They needed to add 3 players. Just 3. 1, 2, 3 players, and they could have been a Super Bowl caliber team. They needed to add a number 2 receiver. They had opportunities. They could have added DeAndre Hopkins. Didn't do it. They could have added Devontae Adams. Didn't do it. Could have added Stephon Diggs. They couldn't do it. Could have added Amari Cooper. Didn't do it. They could have traded for Tyreek Hill. Didn't do it. Right? And then they needed to add a running game. Yes, they went out and got Miles Sanders. Woof. Huge signing. And then they got the Williams kid from Denver. Big signing. Those are the signings that we want. They needed a receiver. They needed a running back. And then they needed a second edge rusher. What they do? They did none of those things. If they would have added those three positions this offseason, they could have went all in on the draft and went all in on drafting offensive linemen, drafting young, healthy, skilled offensive linemen, and they would have been back. But they didn't do that. They didn't do that. General manager Jerry Jones failed. Stephen Jones failed. Brian Schottenheimer failed. Everybody on the Dallas Cowboys head coach up failed this offseason. I'm just saying. Let's Go Sports says they need to have an amazing draft and not choke games at the end. They also need players like Dak to be consistent and the defense to stay healthy. A bit good of things. Listen, when Dak Prescott is in there playing football, he normally is pretty consistent. Now, with Kellen Moore, with Mike McCarthy, right? When they would get behind 10-0, 14-0, 21-0, the running game was lost. It was pass, right? Let's look at the playoff game versus the Green Bay Packers 2 seasons ago. I believe Aaron Jones rushed for 200 some odd yards. He had 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. All of a sudden, panic happened in Dallas. Panic. I think they ran the ball 5 times that whole game. It was 60 some odd passes for Dak Prescott. That is not a recipe of winning football games. Let's look at previously big games, right? What was it, 2022 or 2021? They had to beat the Philadelphia Eagles week 17 to win the division. They damn near choked that away. Luckily, the Eagles were like, we don't want to win nothing. We want to play the Buccaneers in the first round, and we want to get knocked out. We started 11-0. We lost the last 7. You guys remember that season? The Cowboys threw for 45 yards or 45 times in that time, like in that game. That's not winning football. Coaching has failed Dak so many times again, and he gets a bad rap for it. Now, he does throw some interceptions, causing the defense to get put behind the 8 ball. I get it, but you cannot totally abandon the run like in the first quarter, especially for the Green Bay Packers. Like, come on. Old Man Rivers says the jury is still out, Sparky, because Dallas is a monkey humping and a football no balance. Old Man Rivers says the Dallas Cowboys just like to throw the ball. Pass, 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 pass. And honestly, that's what Brian Schottenheimer likes to do. Now, if your team is built to pass, 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 right? You can do that in the playoffs, in the regular season, and whatever, right? But did you know when Brian Schottenheimer was actually calling the shots in Seattle, they had 3 receivers 75% of the time. When they would come out in the lineup, base formation, it was 3 wide receivers, 75% of the time. The Dallas Cowboys right now don't have 3 receivers to line up out there. Sure, you got Turpin and CeeDee Lamb, but beyond that, you have nobody. You have nobody. So maybe Brian Schottenheimer has to figure out his new philosophy, right? Use the 2-headed running back monster that they got in old Miles Sanders and Williams. That's tough. Let's go with sports. Says, I'm not sure how I feel about the head coach hire by the Dallas Cowboys. I don't think it was the best hire at all, but it's their fault for waiting too long compared to the other teams to hire one. You are exactly right. Brian Schottenheimer is set up to fail. Now, the Dallas Cowboys were playing chicken with Mike McCarthy for way too long, right? His contract expired like March 1st or something like that, and they brought him in to talk to him, and they blocked him interviewing for the Chicago Bears coaching job and blocked him for some other coaching job. It was something in Chargers, maybe as offensive coordinator. I'm not for sure. But they were blocking him, and they're like, no, we want you as a head coach. He's like, F you, fine, whatever. And then they're like, oh, let's be front page news and not hire anybody till like mid-March. Yes, they definitely shot themselves in the foot with that, with the whole playing chicken and cock blocking per se. But the reason that I say Brian Schottenheimer is set up to fail is because no matter what Jerry Jones does, he will be front page news. And if the Dallas Cowboys tank, which I anticipate them tanking the 2025 NFL season, they want to bring in Arch Manning. They want to go out there and get a number 1 overall pick. Whether it's Arch Manning, whether it's whoever, they want that guy. They want that notoriety. They want a way to get Dak Prescott out. And Brian Schottenheimer ultimately is going to be the fall guy. If you lose, you're going to get fired. He's going to come and bring in his guy, Coach Prime, Shadur, whatever, right? If you win, you weren't good enough, buddy. We didn't make the playoffs. We were only a 9-8 team. That's not good enough. Coach Prime, come on over here, baby. He is just planting the seed for Coach Prime. That is all it is. Drew says, one thing to remember, Jerry Jones only hires yes men. And Drew, you are right. And every time somebody is not a yes man, Barry Switzer, Jimmy Johnson, right? They get the notoriety, they get the glory, get the Super Bowl wins. Jerry Jones pushes them out. Which, Old Man Rivers is right. Jerry Jones is the problem. He is. Real McCoy says, find someone other than Jerry Jones to make personal decisions. Seems to pay the wrong people. So Jerry Jones needed to pay CeeDee Lamb, needed to pay Dak Prescott, right? They definitely paid the right people this offseason. Now, if you would have done it when the situation first arose, you could have saved yourself millions upon $1 million of cap space. But they played chicken with like Dak. All of a sudden, he could have got signed for $50 million. You waited a couple months, now all of a sudden it's $60 million, right? You could have paid CeeDee Lamb probably $38 million. JJ got signed, Jamar Chase got signed, and then all of a sudden you got to make CeeDee Lamb the highest paid guy. All of a sudden you're paying him $40 million a season. It's just they try to make the moves, but they're always behind the eight ball. Jerry Jones reminds me of my grandpa. He would run his mouth and just keep talking and talking. and you already knew the answer, you already knew the solution, but you had to wait till his story was over before you could say, okay, can I go do this? An hour passes and the grass is already 5 foot tall. It's starting to rain outside. You can't mow the grass. And all I needed was a little bit of gas to go mow the grass. And you kept talking and talking and talking. Tell me the story about the good old days. And now we can't mow the grass because it's raining. That's what Jerry Jones is. Trade Jerry Jones to Cleveland. That won't happen. Let's Go Sports says, I hate Micah Parsons. He's a cocky loudmouth, and while he's good, he thinks he's too good, and overall, it will bite. He is a bit overrated. Not by much, but he is a little overrated. Let's Go Sports, you are not making a reach. You are not making a claim that I do not agree with you at all. I agree everything what you just said. Micah Parsons is an overrated, cocky asshole. That's what it comes down to. Micah Parsons is a great pass rusher. He is probably the second, if not third best pass rusher in the NFL. I'm not taking that away from him at all. But the minute he has to stop the run, the minute he has to set the edge, the minute he has to play disciplined defense, he is a subpar, below average defensive end. It's simple as that. He's a great edge rusher on 3rd and long. Pin the ears back, go get the quarterback. But if he has to stop the run, he's shying away. If he has to set the edge, he's getting pancake blocked and pushed outside. If he has to play disciplined football and like read his keys and sit there, he is 5 seconds late. Now, I know in my old body, in my mind, I have lost a step. I mean, I'm 38 years old, right? I've lost a step. There is no way that I could play on his level. There is no way that I could probably meet him in the hole anymore. There is no way that I could do the things that he does. But I know that I'm going to stick my head in there. I know that I'm going to read my keys. I know I'm going to do all the fundamentals. Micah Parsons is overrated and overcockiness, and he's just an egotistical asshole at the end of the day. It is what it is. Let's Go Sports. I said this last season that the Dallas Cowboys needed to trade Micah Parsons before they got to this point. Once Dak Prescott went down and they're pretty much tanking the rest of the season, Cooper Rush got a couple wins, whatever, yada, yada, yada. Like all of a sudden they're thinking about playoffs, but it wasn't really going to happen, whatever. They should have traded Micah Parsons to the Detroit Lions right then and there. They should have traded Micah Parsons to the Kansas City Chiefs right then and there. They should have got Micah Parsons, a Herschel Walker type of deal, out of town. Micah Parsons is not a type of defensive player that you build your team around. He is a piece that you add to a solid defense, like the Detroit Lions, like the Pittsburgh Steelers, like the Cleveland Browns last season before all their craziness happens, right? And the Dallas Cowboys are trying to build around Micah Parsons, and they're going to ultimately fail. They are going to ultimately fail. Drew says he needs to ride the train and get laid. He needs to call Bonnie Blue. That's what it comes down. He needs to call Bonnie Blue. Daniel Barry Sports Highlights in the chat says, what's up? What's up? What's up, Daniel Barry? What's up, man? What's up?
Pigskin pun. Get you some.
Let's Go Sports says, Jerry is the problem. No one else to blame. You can't blame McCarthy. And when he tried, and when he was there, and Dak, when it's a game day, for sucking. But Jerry decides to do things like keeping McCarthy for that long. It's his fault. Mike McCarthy's welcome was well overdue. It is what it is. It is what it is.